Hey, what is up you guys, you Pixelt here, and welcome to a new speed build video on the channel. So today we are working on a modern eco high school, and this speed build is a pretty long speed build, and trust me, I tried cutting out as much as I could possibly cut out without making this video disorienting. I cut out as much as I could. And it's still a long video. I am so sorry, but this high school is pretty big and it has a lot of detail to it, so it took a while. I think I worked on this build for like a week. It's a long build. It's a long build, and that means it's a long voiceover. But you know what? Luckily, I actually have something to talk about, because usually during these voiceovers, especially the longer ones, I have nothing to talk about because my life isn't interesting. But this month, hasn't been great for me. It feels like everything that could go wrong has gone wrong in my life. So this month hasn't been great, but you know what? At least that gives me material to talk about during this voiceover. But before we talk about the crazy last few weeks I've had, let's talk about the build for a second. So as you can see, I'm actually working on this build in the cats and dogs world. I forgot what it's called, but I started building this in the cats and dogs world because I started working on this before the high school pack came out, only because I knew this was going to be a big build and I wanted to get a head start on it. So I kind of wanted to get the shell and the exterior of the build done before the high school pack came out. And one of the main reasons I did that is because A, I knew this build was going to be big, and B, because I wanted to get the build out, the speed build out as soon as possible, because I knew people were going to be searching up high schools and all of that stuff. And, me being a small channel, it helps to get those videos out as soon as possible. Since everybody's searching for it, my video might pop up and it might get a lot of views. So. But even though I started working on this build early, I wasn't able to get the speed build out on time, and there's actually multiple reasons behind that. One of the main reasons is that The Sims 4, the game itself, was pretty broken, and I didn't feel safe playing it because as soon as the high school pack came out, actually, I don't know what broke the game, if it was the high school pack itself or the patch before the high school pack, but the game was basically unplayable. You had the chance of all of your Sims dying because they randomly age up, and it was a mess. The game was a mess. Luckily, I think they fixed it in the last few days, but the game was a mess. A lot of people were reporting issues of their game crashing or their Sims aging up and dying, and I didn't want to risk that. I mean, I did build a little bit during that time, but I didn't want to risk, going into my Let's Play save and placing this build down, which was my original plan. I was able to do it because, like I said, they fixed the game, but the game was pretty much unplayable for a while, and I took a break from The Sims for like 2 days because I did not want to touch the game. I did not want to risk breaking my game. So, that kind of made me not play the game, which made the video come out later. And then I ran into an issue where my PlayStation 5 randomly decided it no longer wanted to read discs. And I believe this happened on August 1st. I was playing Mirror's Edge Catalyst because I was trophy hunting that game. That's one of the things I love to do. I love trophy hunting video games and getting it to 100% completion. I don't know, it's just a thing I love to do. So I was doing that with Mirror's Edge Catalyst, and I remembered that I needed to record a Ratchet & Clank video for the next day, because Ratchet & Clank is a game I'm playing on my channel, if you don't know. So I remembered I needed to record one of those videos, so I saved my game, I took out Mirror's Edge Catalyst, and I put in Ratchet & Clank. And the PlayStation was reading it for a while, and it usually doesn't take the PS5 long to read a disc. And then it gave me an error message. It said it was an unrecognized disc. And obviously, when I got that error message, I was confused, but I wasn't concerned. So all I did was eject the disc, and I made sure the disc was clean. And it was, because I'm one of those people who takes care of their CDs and their gaming consoles, because they're my babies, okay? They're my babies, and I love collecting video games, so I make sure that they're all clean and in working condition. I treat them like priceless artifacts. I treat my discs very well. So obviously the disc was clean, and I inserted it again, and it gave me the same error message. So obviously I was a little bit confused. I took the CD out, and I put Mirror's Edge again, and it said the same thing. It said unrecognized disk. And I was confused because, like I mentioned, Mirror's Edge was the game that I was literally just playing, and suddenly it couldn't read it. I was lost. So obviously I jumped on Google. And when I went on Google and I searched up, PlayStation 5 unrecognized disc or PlayStation 5 no longer wants to read CDs or discs or whatever, a lot of Reddit threads popped up. I think that's what they're called, right? Reddit threads. I don't know. I don't know how to use that website. But, anyways, a lot of Reddit threads popped up of people having similar issues. And a lot of people had tips and tricks of things that they did and it worked out for them. So obviously, I attempted all of them. This one dude said to do a system reboot. I did that. Still didn't want to read discs. Someone said to make sure that the software update is up to date, and I did that, and still nothing. I even went into the system settings and reinstalled the system update, even though I knew it was up to date. Nothing. That didn't help at all. Someone said turn off the console and leave it disconnected for 30 seconds or 30 minutes, I think it was actually. Yeah, 30 minutes. 30 minutes. So I did that and still nothing. So no matter what tips or tricks or whatever I did that I saw online, nothing worked for me. And, I was so frustrated because I literally tried everything, and there was like comments of people saying, "Oh, I did the system reboot and it worked for me. Oh, I did the system software update and it worked for me." But no matter what I tried, nothing worked. So I was pretty defeated. But I had one more thing that I wanted to try out, but I had to wait like 2 days. And that was compressed air. The reason I had to wait 2 days is because I don't have a car, so I usually have to wait for like my sister to take me places or whatever. So I had to wait 2 days for my sister to take me to Walmart to get compressed air. And I got the compressed air and I shot it into the disk drive to see if there's like dust in there or something, even though I highly doubt it. I've had the PlayStation 5 for like a year and a half now, and I keep it clean. So I didn't think that was an issue, but I wanted to try anyways because, like I said, I wanted to try everything. So I shot the disk drive with air, hoping that would help. Yeah, it didn't. Nothing worked. Nothing worked. Nothing, 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 nothing. So obviously, I had to go on the PlayStation website and contact support. And when you go on the PlayStation website because you're having an issue with your console, they ask you a couple of questions. I think one of the questions were, is your system up to date? It was, obviously, so I clicked yes. It asked me if I've used those games before on my console. Obviously, I said yes. And I think one of the other questions were if it can't read certain discs or all discs, and I've had issues with all discs. So I clicked yes on that, and then the website told me basically, yeah, you have to send it in for repairs. And I don't know why I was expecting, the repair costs to be, I don't know, somewhere between $100 and $150. Yeah, no, I was very wrong. I was very, very wrong. So when you click that you want to send it in for repairs, it makes you input a lot of things like your name, your address, your system's code, like your system's number, because I guess every system has a different number. You have to insert your system's number. So I did that, and they said, "Oh yeah, your warranty expired 4 months ago." So I'm no longer under warranty, because I think if I was under warranty, the repair would have been free. But my warranty disappeared 4 months ago. It's no longer active. So that means I have to pay out of pocket. And like I said, I thought it was going to be maybe somewhere in between $100 and $150. Yeah, no. It's 300. Actually, to be exact, it's $274, but I'm guessing 300 because I don't know how expensive shipping costs will be. So, yeah, I have to pay $274 to get my PlayStation repaired because suddenly it did not want to read discs. And, I asked a lot of people online because I'm in a few PlayStation groups on Facebook and stuff like that. So I asked a few people online what they thought happened. And a lot of people think that my disk drive's laser probably broke. So that could be the issue. So yeah, now I have to pay $274 for Sony to repair my console. It's probably more expensive than that because like I mentioned, I don't know how much it costs to, ship off my PS5 to Sony's repair place. So, that's great. That's great. And not everyone has a random $300 that they could just spare. So I have to sell a couple of things like my camera. I have a camera that I barely use. So I listed it on eBay and that had its own issues, which I'll get to in a minute. So, my last few weeks have not been great. So let's talk about the eBay fiasco. So the camera that I was selling on eBay, it's a Canon Rebel T6, right? It's a DSLR camera that I got for Christmas a couple of years ago, but I barely use it. So, since I need my console repaired, obviously it's easy just to sell that and get the money for it. So I listed it on eBay, and I think it was an error that I made. Because for those who don't know, when you're listing something on eBay, it tells you to put in the name of the product that you're selling. So obviously, when you're typing it out, it gives you a drop down menu of all the products with a similar name. So if you put in iPhone, the drop down menu is going to say iPhone 5, iPhone 6, iPhone 7. It's just going to give you the list of all the iPhones, right? So obviously, when I was typing down Canon Rebel T6, a whole thing of Canon Rebels popped down and I saw one that looked like my camera, so I clicked that. And I guess it wasn't. I guess it wasn't. But anyways, so this dude bought it and I was fairly excited because, with him buying the camera, I pretty much had the money to repair my console. Because I sold it for $300. I sold the camera for $300. So I basically had the whole, money I needed. I had all the money I needed. But then it got to the dude's house, and as soon as it got to his house, I got the message on eBay that he wanted to request a refund. And I was confused because I was under the impression that everything was okay. I guess it wasn't. I guess when the drop down menu, slide down, I clicked on the wrong camera model. So, like I mentioned, I sold a Canon Rebel T6. And on my eBay listing, it said that I was selling a Canon Rebel T6i. I don't know the difference between the cameras, but I guess it was a big enough difference that the dude wanted a refund. And I don't know, I don't blame him entirely because he paid for something that he thought he was getting, but he was actually getting another thing. But, it was an error that I made, I'm pretty sure, because of the drop down menu. And I thought they were the same thing, I guess. I don't know. It was an error I made. So now he's returning the camera, and obviously I have to give the money back, which is devastating because I thought, hey, I can send in my console for repair sooner than I thought. I guess not. I guess not. But, it's fine. It's fine because I did the math, and with my paychecks and stuff like that, I think I will be able to send it in the beginning of September. So, it's all good. Just a little devastated that I have to return all that money. But you know what? I guess this is a learning experience. Next time I sell something on eBay, I'm going to make sure that I read the listing over and over again to make sure that it's correct. And I don't think I'll ever use the drop down menu ever again. I think I'll just type out the name myself just to make sure everything's correct. Because this could have easily been avoided if I did not click on the drop down menu and if I would have just typed down the name of the camera myself. But one crazy thing is I posted very, very clear photos of the camera and the camera box itself on eBay. So if you would have just clicked on the photos and zoomed in, the camera has a huge sticker on it that says Canon Rebel T6. So if the guy would have been a little bit more observant, he would have seen that it's not a C6i. But I'm guessing he just read the description and bought it. He didn't look at the photos. I don't know what happened there, but yeah. Note to self, if you're going to list something on eBay, don't click on the drop down menu, write it yourself. And you know what's also very, very weird? So when you request a return on eBay, you have the chance to text the seller, you know? So he texted me, the guy who bought the camera texted me, and he said that he's requesting a return because he thought he was getting a T6i, but he got a T6 instead. And he said that he's willing to keep the camera if I give him some sort of deal. So I texted him back and I'm like, okay, I guess I could work with that. What kind of deal do you want? And then 2 hours later, he texted me back and he said, never mind the deal. I just want to return it. Then why the fuck did you offer to make a deal in the first place if you didn't want to make a deal? Because I was fine, you know, doing some deal so he could keep the camera and I could keep the money. But he didn't want to do that. So I don't know. It was a very weird experience. It was a very weird experience. Why tell me that you want to do some sort of deal and then not want to do some sort of deal? I'm very confused. Very, very confused. So now I'm waiting for him to ship back my camera. And, you know, I had to pay for shipping. I had to pay for him to ship back my camera. I don't know why. I feel like if you request a return, you should pay for the return, but I guess not. So I had to pay for him to ship back my camera. So even though I'm trying to save money, I basically lost money, which is great. So yeah, he has to return the camera now. It's been 2 days. He hasn't returned it yet. He hasn't given me tracking information or anything. And I kind of hope he keeps it. I kind of hopes he doesn't ship it back, because if he doesn't ship the camera back, that means I get to keep my money, and he's basically forced to keep the camera. But eBay gave him a shit ton of days. Like right now, it is Wednesday, August 10th, and eBay gave him till the 30th to return the camera. So basically, he has the entire month. Which is frustrating because when somebody buys something off of you on eBay, eBay basically gives you 3 days to ship it. And if you don't ship it, I think it cancels your order or whatever. But when someone does a return, it gives them an entire fucking month. Like, really? I don't know. But I kind of hope he doesn't do the return, because then that means I get to keep my money. Anyways, let's stop talking about the crazy, insane week I've had, and let's talk about the build for a little bit. So, as you can see, I used a lot of the orange doors and accent walls, and the reason I chose those is because they look like they're made out of metal. The doors look metal, the accent walls look metal, and they're the color of copper, right? So I decided, you know, this is Copperdale High. Why don't I use copper everywhere? Because it's the color of copper and it looks like copper. So I took the name a little bit too literal, and yeah, so basically this building is made out of copper. I don't know. I just thought it was a neat idea because, you know, everything's gray, black, white, and copper. And I really like how it looks. I really, really like how this build looks. Also, I tried making each classroom look distinctly different. I wanted you to look at each classroom and already know what subject they teach. So there's a science classroom, an English classroom, an art classroom, and a music classroom. So you'll see that each classroom has its own feel to it, and I really like how they turned out. By the way, you guys saw a little bit of the landscaping, but you didn't see all of it. And the reason is because I struggled with the landscaping of this build, so I didn't record it. I was struggling for so long. I paused the recording, I took a break, and then I came back to the game and I said, okay, what do I want to do with this? I obviously asked some simmer friends for advice, like Silly Simmas. I was texting him and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this landscaping. And he told me to basically do something a little bit, you know, not boring, but basic, because it's an eco build and usually eco landscaping isn't crazy. So I followed his advice and I did something slightly boring, but it still looks good. And I didn't record all of that, so I guess you guys will see that in the screenshots. Oh my god, I just now noticed that I've been voice recording for like 20 minutes now, and my throat is so freaking dry, and I made a mistake and I didn't get water before doing this voiceover, so I guess I'm gonna have to do the rest of this voiceover with a very dry throat, which isn't great. Oh, also, by the way, I'm a little upset that the lockers don't come in that copper color that I used everywhere, like the doors and the walls, because that would have been so perfect if the lockers came in that color. They do have a orange swatch, but it's not the same. It looks orange. It doesn't look like copper. It just looks orange. So obviously I didn't use that. But I really, really wish that the lockers came in that same copper color. But sadly, it didn't. And, I know for a fact that we're never getting a color wheel. I've made my peace with it. We're never going to get a color wheel in The Sims 4, and it's whatever. It's fine. But I wish, because I don't know exactly how this works, right? But there are a lot of items in the game that have textures and colors that are not on other items. But I wish there was a way that we could grab textures or colors from one item and place it on another. Like the doors that I have, going into the classrooms, that orange metal, I wish I could grab that texture and slap it on the lockers. You know what I mean? I wish that was a thing we could do in The Sims, because aren't those textures already in the game files? Wouldn't it be easy for the game to let us grab those colors and textures and slap them on something else? I don't know, maybe that wouldn't work, because then if the item is big, maybe the texture would be stretched out and maybe it wouldn't work. But I wish it worked, right? Because that would be so cool. Because, the hardwood floors that are in the classrooms, what if I wanted to put that texture on a bookshelf and I could just grab that texture and put it on a bookshelf? You know what I mean? Like, I wish I could do stuff like that, but obviously we can't, which kind of sucks. Oh, well, that's annoying. Okay, I just realized that on the version of this video that I'm doing the voiceover on, it doesn't have the screenshots added to the end. So I'm gonna have to pause this voiceover, go into the game, take the screenshots, and jump back in here and continue the voiceover. That's annoying because that's gonna take a lot of time. It's fine, I guess. It's completely fine. Okay, so it is the next day. I recorded the first part of this voiceover yesterday. I was gonna get into the game and take all the screenshots I needed, but I felt lazy. And you guys know that The Sims 4 sometimes takes forever to load, and I did not want to deal with that. Anyways, here we are at the screenshots, and I honestly hope you guys like this high school as much as I do, because I worked on it for so freaking long, so I really, really hope you guys like it. Even though I'm gonna be honest, the first floor classrooms of this build aren't my favorite, and the main reason is because I think the first floor of this building is either medium wall height or tall wall height, and I feel like the walls of the classroom on the first floor aren't as decorated as they probably should be. I feel like there's a lot of empty space there, but it's mainly because there aren't a lot of wall decorations that I felt were appropriate for a high school classroom, or, just it didn't make sense. There was a lot of things that I could have put there, but they wouldn't make sense, so I just left it empty. But the second floor classrooms, I feel like they're very nicely decorated, floor to ceiling. I think they look really, really good, especially the art classroom. But the first floor, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of those classrooms, which makes me kind of sad because I love this build so much. So having one thing that bothers me makes me sad. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this speed build. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.